Okay, welcome back to Live Thursdays. Just gonna make sure that this is showing. There's been a bit of a weirdness somewhere. Ray is here. Hello, Ray. How are you doing? I can't hear you, no. Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna make sure that YouTube is actually showing. Okay, it is showing. Interesting. Very interesting. So share. Finally. So we finally have a live stream. Something happened as usual with the link. There was supposed to be like a scheduled thing, which usually shows up, but for some reason, sometimes it shows up, other time it doesn't. So it is an oddity of YouTube. So in the meantime, I'm going to be entertaining you guys here. Do you like my little addition? Hi, Dimitar. How are you doing? Yeah, we're just waiting for Rod and Ray to appear. Okay. Ugh, come on, Ocean Blue. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Okay, what's happening? Sorry, guys, I'm still in one of the trades, so I'm like trying to do multiple things to sort out the YouTube streaming thing and keeping an eye on the crude oil short that I'm in. So yeah, okay. So I'm going to show you. While we're waiting, I'm going to show you my screen. So let's do that. Where's the screen? There we go. Okay. So while we're waiting for the rest of them. So basically we had a poor high happening. I was discussing this whole trade as a potential, but I was looking for further breakout upside, but I was very aware that we are sort of at the top because there was an average session range. So yeah, in the end, when my time of day came to fade these sort of moves, I noticed a poor high. Poor high in profile is defined as two TPOs. They just kind of stay up, and there's nothing like that. It just stops. So the volume and the momentum just run out of steam, and that's why you get the poor high. Tomorrow you can expect the poor high to be broken, so to go higher up, which would be in line with the rejection of the demand. And I'm gonna take that off, flatten, and flatten. Okay, right, we can talk now. Stephen says, good week. I enjoy watching you and Rod do sessions together. I'm a fan. Excellent. Let's hope that we can drag him over tonight as well, because he did say he's coming. I did send him a link. Did I send him the right link? That is the question. I think so. Let me just double check, because you know I've been doing like so many things today. I'm a little bit like a dude that way. I can't really multitask that well. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, okay, cool. Right. So this was a standard kind of crude oil trade that I've been doing for about a decade now. So any other time, when I was a novice trader, I would kind of do suspect things during the day, and then I would kind of do these kind of trades, and they became known as the D style trade, and I've made an entire career off of them. Warren wants to know, how do I manage FOMO? I've got to be honest, Warren, I don't really have FOMO after all this time. I would say that if you are struggling with FOMO, you need to go and do something else. Go lift some weights, do some exercise, because that tends to get rid of extra glycogen and any adrenaline that you might be experiencing. So, yeah. Ocean Blue, Tech Addict is not going to be here tonight because Tech Addict lives in Taiwan. He is, so obviously the hours are weird, and usually we do these sort of sessions pretty late in the day because I'm pretty busy throughout the rest of the day. So unfortunately, by the time that I'm doing this, he's probably like fast asleep, because I think it's 8 hours ahead. So what we're going to do with Tech Addict, we are going to pre-record a session, and then we're going to be basically getting him to answer all your questions. So actually, while we're waiting for Rod and Ray to turn up, why don't we maybe get some questions for Tech Addict that you guys want to ask him, and then I'm going to ask him that when I do the whole thing. He's also moving into a new house, so that's also a little bit complicated. Okay, so Warren says, with the NQ ripping to the upside, had to be patient and manage my FOMO to wait for a low risk, high reward entry. All right, so while we're here, let's have a look at NQ, because I haven't looked at it today. I was doing other things. Here we go, MNQ, that'll do. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was like ripping to the upside. I would say that it was doing a slow crawl to the upside, more like, looking at the profile. I mean, that took a while, Jesus. So for me, the play here would have been these 53 handles at the break of the initial balance. You had some overhead supplies that I can see here, so that was a little bit risky because you are in a swing extreme. But yeah, once you've lived through a number of these setups and you're always defining your setup and quantifying the setup correctly, you shouldn't really have FOMO. So that just means that maybe you haven't practiced enough and you haven't lived through enough of those. As always, walk forward testing is the best way. Hey, Dwight, how are you doing? Sorry, Brian Dwight? Yeah, Brian Dwight. I just saw Dwight and I went, oh, Dwight. No, it's Brian. It's a nice name, actually. So, okay. I'm just going to keep an eye on everything. I feel like I'm an octopus, just kind of scanning through different things. I really need to learn a little bit more how to deal with these streaming platforms. Right, Ray, yeah?
Yes.
I can hear you this time. Yay.
Yes, I know. It's always something.
It is always something. This is the nature of live. You're never quite confident whether everything is going to work. Like today, I had this problem where when I make a new event, it usually shows up on my upcoming schedules in YouTube, but for some reason it's not showing up today. So when you asked me for a link, I was like, I don't know. And I was actually in the middle of trying to create a newsletter for everyone to let everybody know, but no, there was nothing.
Yes.
So, yeah. Now we have it because now we're live, but
yes.
Yeah, it's so weird. I really need to maybe sit down with this restream and really try to get into it. Yeah, adjust the camera. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Brian says, thanks, T, your name is great as well. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Right, so that gold trade that we were looking at, did you end up doing anything with it? Because it did sort of move away, and then it's
I nibbled a little bit.
Did you hug your VWAP?
yes. I actually took it off on VWAP. Yeah.
That was
Just got
standard rate trade. So let me guys
Yes.
show the guys what we mean. So Ray is a huge fan of VWAP, right? So VWAP, let me clean up this chart a bit for you, is this red line here. So basically on the previous live stream for members, we were discussing going in this reversal. It kind of had like a very low time frame, 15-minute demand area. And it was kind of the time of day when certain reversals happen. But one thing that you cannot count on is how far they're going to go. So Ray basically identified this move here. Not the biggest trade, but again, if you know what you're looking for, if you scale your stop losses to the available profit margin, which for Ray was VWAP, you can actually get a decent trade out of it. So yeah, sometimes obviously these trades are massive because we do like big auction fades back to VWAP. But yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, especially I think you had mentioned before on responsive days.
Yeah. I find it
think
works better for me. On responsive days, because sometimes I'm looking at a fade which might turn into a partial failed auction, but I just don't have enough of a profit margin. And then when you started talking about VWAP in the portal, I started looking at it, and I noticed that a lot of the times it just goes straight to VWAP. So it does move as a sort of like a mean. Which is
Yes,
great.
exactly.
Someone actually asked me on my Instagram Q&A today, hey, what do you think of VWAP and should we be hugging it? And I was like, yes,
Yeah,
we
no,
should be.
I'm actually trying to kind of create that phrase and kind of create a little bit of branding around that.
Absolutely. Everybody loves it, man. We should totally do it. So that's your tagline. Hug your VWAP.
Yes. I need to remember to add that every time.
Yeah, Ocean Blue is basically telling me that I've got a open cup violation. That's true. Yeah, because I try not to have open cups. Usually I have things like these, like sippy cups for adults. But today I've got people working in my garden and all of the cups are dirty. And this one has been here for like 3 days. So I don't want to use that. And I had to resort to something else. And I absolutely need some cold drinks because London is hot today, man. And it's going to get hot.
Not here. We have our general coastal fog here. So
right, yeah. I mean,
I'm actually in one of your DRF trades you were talking about.
The crude oil.
Crude. Yes.
Yeah, I started the stream with that.
Yes.
Because I actually managed to get I think about 2.3 out of it. Yeah, so not bad.
Yes.
Yeah, because we had the I don't know whether you noticed we had the poor high, which always starts to bring, and average session range exhaustion point is somewhere around here too. So that was a very, very good one. I did actually grab about 0.5 R on the upside because it kind of popped a little bit and then just ran out of steam and that was it. So I was like, okay, time to reverse. Time to do a D style.
I'm actually kind of debating on whether to continue to hold this. I'm waiting for this 15-minute bar to close here. It's kind of closing as a little bit of a doji, so I may end up closing here. So
yeah, I mean, settlement is announced usually at 2:30 actually, I think. So after that, I find that the volume tends to fall off quite a bit. So I've said that in the program as well. If you can't really find a setup by about 2:30 3 p.m. ET, it's not really worth it because crude oil rarely continues to move after that.
Right.
Yeah, so that's just my thoughts on it. Purely because that's what the open outcry hours used to be. So it kind of carried over.
So if you keep seeing me kind of keep an eye on one monitor and your monitor, you know why.
It's fine. We're all doing that. We're all kind of scanning things. Like last time, Rod was I didn't even notice. He was like, "Oh, great stuff, Dee. Thanks for having me. Oh, by the way, if I'm looking like a mad person, like scanning left and right, I'm still in trades." Like we know, Rod. It's okay. Cool.
Yes.
But he always brings like great stuff. Doesn't matter whether he's staring at the screens or not. So he's always multitasking. Yeah, so I'm multitask as well, but I have a limit. How are you with multitasking, right?
Sometimes good, other days bad. It really depends on how much rest I've had the night before. But
yeah, same with me, and I haven't been having that much rest. So Ocean Blue wants to know, Ray, are you doing live YouTube trading?
No. No, I've I mean, you know, my I mentioned to you over email that I have a nephew who's kind
Yeah.
of taken up an interest in what I'm doing, and so I've done some sessions with him,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where I'm kind of showing him what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I've been bold enough to go
Yeah,
on
it
the
is a
YouTube.
progression. It is a progression. To be
Yes,
honest, I still mess things up early on lives because you're kind of trying to talk and you're looking at the live chat and you're trying not to miss the questions, so you're not
right,
really fully in there.
right.
So I find that again, give me another 5-10 years, I probably won't have a problem with that. But for me, live streaming is and trading live, it's kind of like a relatively new thing as well because I only started with these sort of live streams last March. So it's just been over a year, and it's been nerve wracking. Like I remember when I did my first one, I had like 2 people watching, and I was so nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I do some recordings on ShareVision. You know,
Hmm.
that is a little bit more controlled, I guess. I feel a little bit more confident there.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, but
yeah. I
on
mean, you don't.
live, I guess still I feel a little bit of too much pressure, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You'll get there. It's fine.
Mm.
It's one of the progressions. Jerobi wants to know where is my VWAP indicator from. Honestly, it's just a very simple indicator from the marketplace on MetaTrader 5. They have their own kind of app store, and it's called VWAP Simple by a guy who I can't really pronounce. The good news is that I've been talking to our CTO who helps me create all of our Blahtech indicators, and we're probably going to be adding VWAP calculations into our moving average calculator. So you're
Oh,
going to
okay.
have like 2 calculations. So you can like kind of switch between them. Oh,
Nice.
okay. Stephen is saying that Rod was having power issues earlier today. Not sure
Mm.
if that's the problem now. Yeah, it probably is because he's usually on time, like definitely. So, oh well, we might not have Rod today. But it's okay. You've got Rod, you've got Ray, you've got me. We are here for you guys to chat.
Dee, can I actually trouble you for the link here, or can I just use this link on top here?
For the link for the
The
live,
event, or maybe I can have one of these guys out here
I
on the
think it's
audience,
this
maybe
one.
pop it in.
You've got a private chat. I think it's that one. Just
Okay. Yeah, because
don't quote me on that though.
my nephew is keen on joining. So
Yeah, that is definitely the one. So I've just sent it to you
okay,
in private
perfect,
chat.
perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. So yeah, let's see. Right, so yeah, I wouldn't say somebody was mentioning NQ earlier. I don't know whether you saw. I wouldn't say that it was like ripping. That's not what Nasdaq rip looks like. It's a lot more violent than that normally. So to me, that would be like more of a slow crawl upwards. I have not been on equities this week. I think that crude oil and gold were offering some slightly more interesting opportunities for me. And those are my 2 core markets, anyways, and that's where Ray and I are like buddies.
Yes, yes, crude
Love
and
crude, yeah.
yeah, crude and gold.
Um, let's see. So Nasdaq. This is a micro contract. Daily Q low rejection. So swing extreme rejection. Ooh, that looks nice on the weekly. Look at that. Hold on. Let me share that. Here we go. There it is. So
Oh
this is a
wow.
very, very nice nice consolidation. Very nice consolidation. So usually these have a very high probability of reversing the whole move and then carrying on upwards. So keep an eye out tomorrow on Nasdaq or generally into the end of the week, because if that stays looking that way on the weekly, we're going to be breaking this daily supply and continuing upwards towards this daily Q high. Not that I like to speculate too much of like what could happen and stuff, but it's just nice to see a very, very uniform agreement. This is a price agreement on the weekly chart, and it's a massive chart. What do you reckon, Ray? What does this look like to you?
Yeah, no, it looks excellent.
Hmm.
Yeah, we have a nice consumerist line there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. pretty much a bearish engulfing and bullish engulfing there. So yeah, looks really good.
So how would you approach this tomorrow? So let's say we open tomorrow. Let's see where the value area is, just to do a little bit of speculation. So the value area is probably going to end up somewhere here. So let's say that we open slightly above value tomorrow. How would you approach this?
Well, I would probably look for, something along the lines of maybe value area edge opportunity and see if I got some sort of, price structure or confluence there, because that value, especially if we do have an open above, I think that would be, an area that I would look at. There's always the chance that we get a kind of a value acceptance, go down the value area low, and then reverse. So those would probably be my two areas that I would be looking at.
So two scenarios. So value area edge test and reversal. So
yes.
Bounce from the value edge, or value acceptance, and then down we go. Yeah.
Correct. And then maybe a potential at the low.
Yeah. Very nice. There you go, guys. Something to look out for tomorrow. Because the way we do things with market stalkers, we don't like to just go, right, it's going to go up and that's it. Now we just do long setups, because that's just nonsense,
Yeah.
You're going to come up with a day where it all goes against you and you're like, well, I thought it was going long. So you need to have a contingency plan. That's why whenever we're coming up with intraday scenarios, we want to see 2 longs and 2 shorts at the very least. And then you have some options. So that way you're not really connected to either side. You might have a bit of a bias, but you also have options. So that's always a better choice. Ocean Blue wants to know, well, he's asking, ratio indicator could auto add settlement to with VWAP? I hate looking it up each day. Once the VWAP calculation is in there already, Blahtech team do accept feature requests from users. They don't charge for it if it's just like an easy add-on. We usually already have some kind of a time-based code in there already. So if you want to add something into it, it's generally just a few days. But beware that throughout the summer, our CTO does take a holiday, a vacation, so he might not be around. But I will definitely carry that suggestion immediately, so that you have the settlement price and that you have VWAP or moving average. So it's going to be like a functional indicator, like we like to do it in Blahtech always.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think it's time. Okay, so I'm just gonna ping. Here we go. Here he is. Okay, so he's gonna be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So he was having power issues, but yeah, he's actually been on a very long call now, so it's cool. So yeah, I've got something exciting coming up. On Saturday, I'm actually filming for Aaron Corbs. I don't know how many of you guys know who he is. He's not like a huge channel, but I think he's got about 17,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's Rod actually mentioned me, and they were like, "Oh my God, yeah, that would be great." So yeah, he reached out to me, and I'm basically doing a video podcast on Saturday, but it's not going to be live. They kind of pre-record everything, because sometimes it's like super long. You kind of speak to Corbs for like 3 hours. So yeah, so at some point in the next couple of weeks, that should be out as well. So that's very good. Ocean Blue wants to know, Ray, what did you find about Market Stalker's method that made big changes with your success? It's a great question.
So I guess a couple of things. I would say that the consistent way of approaching the day and approaching the week, providing a little bit of structure. As I think in the past, I think you see, like many of you, as you see price move, I need to jump in. But I think I think the biggest takeaway I've gotten from Market Stalkers is the first of all, the time of day. She talks about quite a bit, right? We have post NY cut and day range fill is a couple of times that we want to, pay particular attention to. Also exhaustions, right? Average daily range exhaustion and average session range exhaustion were some areas that, I was entering longs expecting a continuation. I was, smacking my head right into an average daily range or average session range. So those are just a few examples of things that I've kind of taken away and have been able to incorporate in my trading.
Yeah, so basically, one of the huge things that I like to focus on, as this thing says here, time of day is a level, sort of. So it is a statement that I like to use to illustrate the importance of the time of day. But also, the statistical averages are something so simple that I can't believe that more people don't actually use them. It was actually one of the first methods that I started using myself. So it was so successful that it got me through like the thick and thin of all of my rookie trading mistakes and bumbling around and everything. One thing that has remained constant throughout my whole career is the use of statistical averages. And then as I grew as a trader, I just modified them more and more. So now I have not just the use of seeing whether there's got some kind of space to it, whether the trade has enough profit margin in relation to those statistical ranges, but I also use it to see whether we might have a single direction day, which is abnormal. So you don't really expect statistical averages to work on those days. And in fact, you expect the market to just blow past them and to keep going, like Ray says. But if the market opens, and if it's like a New York session, but the statistical average is still intact and it has not been busted yet, obviously that's going to be something that is the norm. So you're not looking at a single direction day, and the most likely outcome would be that the market will turn around there. So that would be the area of interest. There he is. Hello.
Hello.
Uh-oh, you're not a Dodgers fan.
No.
Oh, that's right. You live up north.
Yeah. No, I'm not a Giants fan either. So, but
oh, that's good.
Certainly not LA.
Yeah, they're the only. Well, I lived up there for 20 years and could never enjoy the Giants.
I'm an A's fan.
Rod actually had a dog called Dodger as well.
That's right, Dodger dog.
Yeah.
That's right. Next one's going to be named Laker or King.
Well, just one? Why did you go another 8?
Oh, I know. That's what I need. I need like 8 dogs or something like that. No.
That's why I did it. I was so heartbroken when we lost our old dude. We decided to get another dog, and then the two of them had puppies, and then we were like, actually, you know what? 8 dogs is a pretty good number. It's like it is. And they're very cute. I'm going to say I do love them, but it's so much work. Oh my God, they're now in the adolescent terrorists phase.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So if you let them, they just chew everything and anything around the house. But we don't.
You didn't even consider giving away like part of the litter?
No,
no.
Because they're such legends, like all of them. I just couldn't give them up. As they were being born, we were naming them. And then the final one was born with a white beard. Like, she looks ridiculous. I've never seen a dog like her. She actually has a terrible overbite. But she's so cute. She's like very fluffy, looks very different than all of the rest of them. And she is so feisty. She's like, I've stared death in the eyes and I can take anything. And she's tiny. So she kind of reminds me of me because I'm a midget.
There you go. That's funny.
Yeah, I have a mixed Tibetan Terrier 8-year-old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so very territorial.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe I can get him down and give him.
Oh, definitely. We need to do like compare puppies. I sometimes drag them out, but today it's a bit of a busy day. We are doing some rebuilding around the house, and it's just a nightmare. There's dust everywhere and like wet paint and stuff, so they can't actually run around. Last week I let them run around, and half of them ended up with like paint all over them, and I was like, "What have you done?" So yeah, it's not the day to be getting them out. So Rod, what have you been trading today?
Today's been a pretty boring day. I mean, I'm caught in a little bit of notes and bonds long here. Looks like we might firm up at the bottom, but not a whole lot. I mean, we just gapped right off the open, as I'm sure you guys saw in the stock indices, and there was nothing else to do. We didn't get any pullbacks, so not a whole lot. Just got some notes on long from about the levels we're at right now.
Yeah, well, gold was pretty boring today as well. I tried, I think, a couple of trades on gold, didn't really work out. So in the end, I did one in crude oil. That went partially how I wanted it to. Then I took it off because it wasn't really happening. And then I finally caught my day range fill trade, the ones that saved me towards the end of the day, and that's what made my day. But otherwise, it was like, oh, come on, really? It's the summer, so the summer markets are slowly creeping in. I've really noticed a change.
Yeah, the action's actually on the long side's been in crypto today. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, if you trade the futures, they've both broken out nicely from prior sessions highs and stuff.
I do have some long-term Bitcoin positions.
Yeah.
I don't look at them
Bitcoin's
often,
up. Bitcoin's up nicely today, and so is
I have Engine
so
Coin
Ethereum.
as well. I quite like what they're doing on the utility thing. So, I see. Okay. All right, nice. We'll see. Not that I'm a crypto trader. I actually dislike crypto a lot, but you got to be involved, right?
Hodl a little bit.
A is here. A is here. Okay, we're gonna get loads of questions now. All right. So let's have a look at what's going on with the markets. Maybe bring out the NQ chart. In a while when it all starts to move. Someone was saying, "Oh, how do you deal with FOMO?" Warren, I think it was, and he goes, "How do you deal with FOMO?" Because Nasdaq was on a rip today, and I was like, "I wouldn't call this a rip. I would call it a slow crawl because when Nasdaq rips, it really rips, and this was not it." So we were kind of discussing FOMO. So how would you deal with any FOMO? Not that you have any FOMO, I presume, but Rod, let's start with Rod.
We've changed FOMO to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. So
see. Okay.
Yeah.
I just make the lift weights.
Yeah, that's a John Carter term. I didn't know, but I'd heard it in my room. So, I mean, I think this has been a reoccurring theme. If you have a strategy that has levels and then has a framework around it, and you've walked forward, tested it, and you believe in it, it makes you money on most days. On days in which you're not able to really catch a trend or get in a trade, it shouldn't really disturb you that much, because the easiest way to stick to your rules, if you will, or if the rules are so clearly in your face that there's nothing you can do at a certain level, then
that's exactly
think of the joy of missing out.
Yeah.
Go take a walk or get in the sauna or whatever you do. Pick up your guitar, right?
Yeah, go run, cook, spend some time with the family.
do
Anything
whatever,
apart from staring at the charts. Yeah, I usually
Yeah.
just make them battle any kind of adrenaline or FOMO or emotions, because it's emotions. It's all emotions. I just tell them, go to the gym, man. Ray, have you struggled with FOMO?
Well, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I mean, that was one of the things that I think as I evolved as a trader, that was the biggest change. Is that not to follow the herd, and trusting in a system or plan that you have so much confidence in that you don't fall prey to that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I kind of taken away from market stalkers is we have time of day. We know what types of setups we're interested in. Now it's a matter for you to be disciplined. I mean, if you want to become a consistent trader, you need to be disciplined in those kinds of things.
And you need to have lots of experience, which is never something that you can come by easily, because even if you come to Rod, you come to me, we give you all of the levels, and then you just go, right, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. You need context. Rod calls that situational fluency, and it's absolutely right. If you don't have enough experience to recognize the level and to know what you want to do with that level, then you need to practice more. You need to gather more data. So it's always a matter of more experience. It's a very difficult thing to get over, because obviously you need that confidence. So without the proper methodology, you have no confidence. But without confidence, you can't develop your own methodology, which is why we exist. We at least give you that framework. here is something that works. You've seen us do it like a million times. We know that these levels work because we've tested them. We've gone through the hardship of doing the walk forward testing ourselves. And oh, look, doggy is entering into the room. Yeah, but there's no easy way around it. Unfortunately, FOMO is something that you deliberately have to work on. Hello. Oh my God.
Oh,
He's
look at
how many
that.
pounds? 55 pounds of love.
Wow.
Here you go, buddy. Here you go, buddy. Here. Yes. You don't want to take it?
So
Wow.
cute.
He
Very
doesn't want to eat a
Oh,
treat.
he's shy.
Wow.
He's shy. He's like,
He's
no, I'm
scared
on
of it.
camera. What's this?
There he is.
Yeah, he's so cute. Look at
Yes.
the beard. He's got a beard.
Yes, he's got the little underbite going as well.
Ah, I see. Yeah, well, our Astrid Mimi has got an overbite. It's hilarious. You can see her top palate like that. But she's so cute, though. She just looks at the camera and goes,
Do you notice the resemblance?
oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Especially the haircut.
They say that after time, I guess you resemble your pet in some way.
Yeah. I've even gone so far that I've dyed my hair to resemble my older dog. At one point, I had these like black bits because the Pomeranians and Cavapoms, they have this sabling. So sabling means black bits everywhere.
Mm.
So I wanted to look like my dog at one point. Because when you're not FOMOing, when you're Jomo, is it? Yeah,
Jomo.
Then you go and dye your hair stupid colors because that's what you do. It's a hobby. All right, let's take some questions, guys. Let's see what people are struggling with, what you guys want to know. Anything about the summer markets, prop trading. So Warren says, Ray, you can make your pet dog a YouTube star. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Get those endorsements. Yes. All right, we have a question. D and Rod, do you guys have comfort levels on size? Idea is you guys are solid traders, so what stops you from doubling size? Rod?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's nice about trading the futures markets is that the leverage is already there, right? So when you've been doing it as long as I have, or now that I'm teaching and training and just trying to get people to start with the smallest size possible and to always trade beneath their means. But D, I don't know about you, but I just find that truly pros that have figured it out, we always trade beneath our means. We don't,
absolutely. Yeah,
because the big days just take care of themselves. So the concept of I've never also been kind of a fan of those spreadsheets that you see that show that you can increase your contract size as your account grows. I mean, I get the concept there. Yeah, I'm not into the compounding stuff because it doesn't necessarily follow what we've been talking about, which is your skill set based on that video that you made, D, around earning the right to increase your risk budget by virtue of how much you're making. So it's never really been an issue. I mean, I could trade way larger than I currently do, but here's the best way I would describe it. I'm a pretty high stakes poker player, but I'm not super high stakes. And the reason is that I could play competitively in those games, but the variance of losing $25,000 or $50,000 would piss me off way more than winning $50,000 would change my life.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't make a difference, right? So given that increased risk comes with increased reward, it doesn't make sense to me, because to increase my size would be increasing my risk.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I honestly, whenever I'm looking at my position sizes, I want to be at a place where I'm not on an emotional roller coaster because my P&L is jumping so much up and down in relation to the account size. That pisses me off, right? So it just makes me make bad decisions. But when I'm trading within my means, when I'm trading smaller than my means, I'm calm. I really couldn't care less if a trade gets hit. And honestly, I think that is very, very important to be a good trader eventually. So that's why we have the online prop firms. Scalability is there, and scalability is always a problem whenever you're starting out in trading without that much capital. And that's like the major problem for most people. Where do I start, and how do I come up with a trading capital to begin with? Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. We live in some amazing times now where that problem has been solved. All you need to do is to know how to trade well, be disciplined, and work on yourself, your methodology. Don't worry about scaling up. That's the easiest thing that you can do. You just get another account. It's the easiest thing, right? The tough part is to actually trade consistently, whether that's on micros, trading 1 micro or trading 100 full contracts. It won't matter at some point, but it definitely will matter if you try to trade too large and you go for like, oh yeah, I'm just going to buy 10 Apex accounts and all of them will be like $1 million worth and now I'm going to make it. No, there's a progression because your mindset is not ready for that. You have to earn the right and you have to adjust mentally to trading those sizes. I didn't start trading like 40 lots. I started trading nano contracts in like Forex in 2008. Nano contracts. That's like when you win like $2. But I didn't care about that. I cared about how I'm approaching the setups, how many trades am I doing per week, what sort of a drawdown I'm experiencing, what kind of accuracy I'm getting. And I was just working on honing my methodology. And then once I got that down, everything else just happened pretty quickly. And then it was just a matter of honing your skills over and over. And I'm still learning. For example, Ray came into my life and he was using VWAP. So I started looking at it and now I've started using VWAP. And so, I'm not somebody who's totally closed-minded and I don't claim that I know everything. I just know that what I do definitely works for me and it has worked for over 7,000 people that we've taught. So, there's obviously some knowledge and value in that. And you can use that however you want. But don't expect that suddenly you're going to go from trading peanuts to trading, 40 cars, because that's going to kill you mentally and you won't make it. Like, I don't know anybody who made that kind of a jump. So don't obsess too much over sizing. Stay consistent. Trade just with 1 micro and try to do that for extended periods of time. See how you get on. Monetary values don't matter. Your approach matters, your emotional mindset as well. Oh, hold on. We've got questions. Let me track back. Rod, do you think summer trading is going to be more volatile this year or slow? Sorry, Ray.
Well, I have a 50% chance of being right. If I say yes or no.
Yeah.
I've given up trying to predict the future. It's a bad habit because it gets into your shorter term time frame.
Right?
I would say that, but I will just say that clearly overall volatility throughout the day has definitely increased. The concept of slow mid part of the day is not really there anymore. Markets can just sort of move and jump around the whole session, good and bad. You have opportunities at different day parts during the day if you're working full time. So I think that's going to carry over, where we're going to continue to see maybe seasonality not have as much of a factor, but who knows? We could be also exhausted from one of the worst years from a portfolio 60-40 bond standpoint, that everyone just takes some time off.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think with just all the news that we have, that there's always a chance for volatility to come in. We have the war in Ukraine, maybe some other event that could cause something to happen. So it's really, really unpredictable. I would just echo, I think, some of the comments that Rod's made, and you want to trade what you see, right? You don't want to sort of forecast and expect something to happen. Just look at the charts, find your levels, and trust your plan.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see the reduction in liquidity happen anyways. Like, for example, Ocean, you can see on the average daily ranges and average session ranges, if you start tracking that week by week, if we do get a summer slowdown, those ranges are going to come down. So those thick lines on the Blahtech indicator, that's what they're there for. So when the market stops moving past those lines, and means that we're in some kind of a range. This is why I say, there's multitudes of ways of using statistical averages, and that's one of them. It's like a fixed measure from the open, half ADR up, half ADR down, and that's what those thick lines indicate. So yeah. Rod, did that firm that forgot to mention anywhere on their site the fact they count 2 micros as minis sorted out like you say it would? All right, you probably.
Oh, you're referring to Trounday. So it's not live yet. They're probably about another a week away. So there's a firm out there that I did a interview with called Trounday, and Trounday is a very good alternative to TopStep because they have a similar model in the sense that they put you in a live market if that's important to you, and because they put you in a live market, you can take faster withdrawals because it's real money. So that's important to some people. I would suggest you want to grow your account either way, but they set it up so that the account size was 2 minis or 2 micros, and 2 micros it's a little small, so they're going to adjust that so it will be 20 micros or 2 minis, but it has not gone live yet.
I actually spoke to Steve this week because
oh, you did? Yeah, he's in the UK.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Rod mentioned you," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Rod."
I said you guys should network because
So funnily enough, I think he knows some of the same people that I know as well. We haven't kind of gone that deep into it because I was a little bit busy, so I only had like half an hour. But it looks like they're doing good stuff. Like I really like their model. We'll try and get Steve on the Market Stalkers channel at some point.
Yeah, if you could do that. And I think you're even talking to Aaron this weekend.
I am,
right?
yeah, Saturday. Yeah. Thanks
good.
for, again, Rod has been mentioning me everywhere. So
yeah.
Like, great. So A says, and if not, would you still recommend them, given that that's why you said Top Step was dead? I mean, I wouldn't say Top Step was dead. I just would say they've fallen a bit behind.
Well, I mean, if they don't make some adjustments, and I know you guys are both funded there, and I have a funded account there too. I mean, I haven't logged in 7 months, but yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Just to quickly tell you the differences is that, Top Step still has a 2-step evaluation. Top Step still has really silly rules around withdrawals for consistency. They say they're going to change that. Top Step is still, this is the worst thing. They're gated. So you don't get extra buying power with profit. You can negotiate that with them, but they don't have it public. So Trounday is a real prop firm. If you grow your account $1,000, you get an extra contract. So you're not even gated. And it's a single evaluation, and the profit objective is 30% less. And it uses Tradevate, and they're going to have integration between Tradevate and Ninja. They'll be the first ones to release that very soon. You can place a trade on Tradevate, close it on Ninja, place it on Ninja, close it on mobile. So, I heard from the new CEO at TopStep. I heard from the new head of product. They say they're going to make some adjustments, but it seems to be all around payout stuff and not really around innovations on the eval side. But they were the originals, but they're definitely falling behind. So.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're an original doesn't mean that you get to stay on the top. And the more competition, the more it happened with the music industry, right? It's like so many things went wrong when the internet piracy exploded because the big companies, they didn't really think that the internet piracy is going to affect them in any single way. So what happened is that all of the major music industry companies, like we had Sony, we had EMI, and there was what was the third one? It was Virgin, I think, and they were absolutely massive. But internet piracy destroyed their entire industry. They just disappeared overnight. And what happened? Eventually, I think Warner Bros. Went around and bought a whole bunch of them. And then there was just like one company, and that was it. So now they're all kind of like a subsidy of each other, which is like really weird. But the size of the actual industry has gone down to nothing because they weren't fast enough to implement the changes. By the time that they were considering subscription-based models that the TV industry has adopted pretty much immediately when the internet started affecting their revenue. It saved them. And now we have the golden era of TV where all the A-listers have gone to do like TV shows and stuff, which is not that great for the TV actors, but it's great for the viewers. And I think you can kind of make parallels with big original industries that are not keeping up with the times. They do need to make more adjustments, and they need to make sure that they're still competitive. So I really do hope. I mean, I love them. They were the first company that I went to trade online with. So obviously, I would like to see them around. And obviously, I'm friends with Hogue, and I don't really want to see them just go down and in flames. So I do hope that they make the adjustments.
I mean, similar story to like Blockbuster, right? We had those
Yeah.
brick and mortar stores that were
Mhm.
renting videos, and then Netflix came along, and they came in with some innovation, and Blockbuster wasn't able to respond. And next thing you know, Blockbuster at every corner, Blockbuster no longer overnight.
Do you remember they were charging for tapes? I don't know whether it was the same in the US, but over here they were like, I'm showing my age now. They were charging for tapes that you didn't wind back to the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like a penalty. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, and if you return them late, they return them
Yeah.
late. They charge
Late fees were
well.
terrible. Yeah, it's like a library or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
real
kind of
quick to
glad.
interject,
Yeah.
just unrelated to what we were talking about, but gang, I see this all the time. Like, don't short the market right now. Who's getting fried here? First of all, if there's going to be a reversal, it'll be in the next 15 to 20 minutes. You just need to see this. So please don't short here. Like, I'm just seeing, all these stops getting taken out, trying to short the S&P and the NASDAQ here, and it's just ripping faces off. I see it all the time. So just don't be short here, please. Don't be fried like a toad. You do not want to short these types of markets between 2:30 p.m. Eastern and 3:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're going to look for a reversal, understand the time of days when we get these outside days and these momentum moves, because I could just see it. Like, people are just getting fried here.
Yeah, so for me,
see a big
for
level up
example,
there that D
looking
has,
at
I
it,
think, right? Whatever that green
yeah,
level
but
is
also
up
the
there.
big thing here is the fact that we've overshot. This is the average daily range exhaustion here, and we've overshot that, and it just keeps going. But before you joined us, Rod, I was actually talking to them about how I use statistical averages, and one of the uses is that if the prices ignore the statistical average, you very likely have an abnormal day on your hands that would just keep going in that same direction. So knowing that, you can use statistical averages in two ways. You can either use them as, reversion points where you're expecting the market to turn around, but if they're being ignored, watch that and take that on board. So don't go against that. Don't go against that. That's stupid. Like, the next turning point actually is the average session range, which is all the way like 91 handles higher than this area. 91 handles. So we still have lots of space. This was not that big of a day on NASDAQ. So the session range is still plentiful. And on the daily chart, and again, we were talking about this, not on the weekly chart, we have a consolidating price action sideways. That is, that's a high probability occurrence of somebody agreeing in price on a weekly chart. That's a lot of trading information that goes into that. So why would you go against that? That's just silly. That's what I mean when I talk to people about chart location and knowing about the phases of the market movement, which happen in uptrends, downtrends. It doesn't matter. It's still the same thing. Something trends, then it consolidates, then it turns around. That's the high probability speculative directional change. So if you learn how to spot those, you're going to keep yourself out of a lot of trouble. That doesn't mean that you take the weekly chart and you use the level and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to place my stop like a bazillion handles from here, and then that's my trade. No, that's position trading. You can't do that. But what you can do, you can take this information and tomorrow you can bank on the fact that you are probably going to have high probability event of continuation. Why? Because the market is consolidated. It hasn't actually gone down in 4th week. 4 weeks. That's a very significant piece of information. Okay? You don't even need a chart for that. You will be able to see a range where the price just stayed in a range. So, it's all down to just basically common sense. Okay, so we've got some more questions here. Let me just get down to the 5 minutes here so that we can watch this. We still have about, is it 20 minutes? 20 minutes before the market goes into that rebalancing. So let's keep this open. So, Rod, as the resident NinjaTrader expert, how much longer until the NinjaTrader prop firms integrate Trader8?
Well, I'm testing on a beta right now, so it's already working. I was told the release dates from a few firms should be this month, so I would suggest probably this month. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But that's going to be at firms that already support Trader8.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, Apex doesn't support Trader8, so you won't see it at Apex or Lilu or Bull and Ox, but
yeah, ETF
you'll see
does.
you'll see it at ETF, you'll see it at Trade Day. Again, you might see
Clinton.
it at Ninja, but I mean at Top Step, but my understanding is most Top Step traders use the Trader8 platform and don't do much with Ninja.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on Trader8 with ETF. I mean, I've traded with Top Step through Trader8 as well because they had their own version. Kind of.
Yeah, they just white label it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked it. It was actually one of the better platforms out there. So Clinton Ohlers, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right. Do you have a recommended progression? Get one 50K account funded. What are the milestones to start adding in others? Let's. Rod, you're kind of the expert on this, so why don't you answer this one?
Yeah, I think it's like any other question about progression, right? It really just has to do with the individual. For about 6 months, I was not too thrilled with a lot of members that were showing 10 accounts and the copier and all this kind of stuff until I went, you know what, they have the skills to do that, and I went and messed around with the copier, and now I love these copiers. I'm building my own. So I think the answer really is for certain, start with 50, get through the process, take your first payout. Just take a payout first. Now, not everyone's path is going to be that way. If you have other trading experience, you get very comfortable with how this stuff works. But it doesn't make sense to add other accounts until you also have worked with the replicator. So you could buy the replicator and test it between one of your accounts and a couple demo sim accounts that have nothing to do with the prop programs. But there, in my opinion, there's no purpose to buying other accounts until you get comfortable with replication and with your strategy. So, I mean, if I guess I had to answer it, wait till you take your first payout and you've been managing risk successfully for at least 3 months.
Yeah, Ray, any thoughts on this? Because I think your funded account was a 50.
Yeah, I actually haven't graduated. I'm still working off my 50K account.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't have much offer in this regard.
Yeah. So start with 50K. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Once you start taking regular payouts, that's the time to add. So don't burden yourself with too many things, because if people see us kind of trading loads of accounts. Like somebody asked me on the membership thing earlier, because I do another live stream just for members here. And they're like, "Oh, Dee, but how do you trade like through different companies? Like, well, what happens? How?" And I said, "Well, I've got about 5 platforms open. I've got Finamark, I've got Trader8, I've got MetaTrader 5. I've even had Bloomberg Terminal open at one point because there's a company that they use. Bloomberg is just bane of my existence. I have NinjaTrader. You have like loads of stuff. There's replicators and some of them as well. I spoke about that too. So yeah, but for me, I'm very confident in my setups. So when I decide to go into a setup, I'm not going to go like, "Oh my God, oh, is this right? Oh, yeah." I'm not going to get flustered over it. I'm just going to be like, click, 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 click. I'm done. Oh, okay, that's not working out. All right, let's exit. Click, 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 click. I'm done. But you're not going to be able to do that when you're just starting out, and especially not if prop trading is something you've never done before and it's like a new experience for you. So just take it slow, don't rush, everything will fall in line when it's supposed to. Okay, you'll know when you're ready.
Yeah, one last thing. I dropped an article yesterday in our trade room from a guy that talks most about health and fitness, and I know, Dee, you have a health and fitness background as well, and you should know health and fitness. Really, you can equate this trading journey honestly to, I don't think anyone would expect their body to change overnight or things like that. So this guy was talking about, you know, a yearly goal of how long it would take him to do 15 pull-ups or something like that. So I would really suggest you guys think of it like that. I mean, you know that if you start an exercise regimen, that your effort is not going to show immediately. So a lot of people like to get into trading in terms of how fast they can move, and we're here to help, you know, cut down that learning curve in a lot of regards. But think of it the same way you think of your body. You know, I mean,
yeah, funnily enough, a lot of
starting
people
an
don't
exercise
think
regimen.
about
How
that.
long would it take you to do 100 push-ups, or if you could ever get there?
So funnily enough, I was, I mean, I was never big or overweight because I was always an athlete. But when I got to my 32 years of age, which was a while ago now, I gained some weight and I got pre-diabetes because my diet was just terrible. And I was a musician still, and you know, I was doing trading and music alongside of things. I wasn't sleeping well. I really wasn't taking care of myself, and I knew it. So naturally, my body just didn't really like it, and I was quite unhappy with the way that I've treated myself. So I decided to stop that. I got back into fitness, and I got really fit to the point that I started doing bodybuilding competitions and won quite a few of them. So naturally, people around me, they're like, "Hey, how did you do that? Like, you didn't look like this last year. Like, what happened?" So I started to offer them to help them out because I know a lot about dieting, I know a lot about nutrition, and how much exercise you should be doing, and also that it's an equation. It's not like any one thing. Very similar to trading, right? You can't just take like one isolated component. With fitness and with trading, you have multiple things that have to be a part of the whole equation if you want to succeed. So I would take on people to effectively help them out, and we would start working together. I would give them a meal plan, I would give them an exercise plan, and on day three, they would go, "So when can I have a beer?"
Yeah, or how come I haven't lost 5 pounds?
Yeah, and why am I not fit like you now? Like, am I going to have body? So I would just go, "Do you know what? Just have the beer." 'Cause you need to like want to change. If you're asking me that question, you're not ready. So if it's more important to you to have that bloody beer, go and have it. Go have it. I don't care. It's your body, you know, it's fine. But for those who were really dedicated and who kind of knew that they had to work on it, they would just take any guidance without questioning, without nothing. They would just be like, "Okay, an hour in the gym. Okay, I'm gonna go lift weights now." No question. But they're the ones who usually have some kind of a background in sports, and they know that it doesn't come very quickly. And obviously, trading is a skill, just like any other skill. Getting fit is a skill. Playing a musical instrument is a skill. So if you take that approach, a skill is something that you need to work on. It's not going to happen right away. You start learning a new language, you're not going to speak that language in a week. So you expect a progression of skill. For some reason, most people, when they start to trade, they're looking for like a simple system. And they want you to kind of go, "Hey, here's a moving average. Just enter there on a 10 tick stop. That's it, and take your profits." Like, that's not trading. That's absolutely not a trading skill. That's just a mechanical thing where you don't really understand the reasons behind the trade, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. Because as soon as the markets change and that system is not working, you don't know how to adapt. So what Rod, Ray, and me are trying to tell you is that you can't just jump in. It's a progression of skill. We give you the levels, we give you the systematic framework, but you still have to work on it. And it's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in 3 months. For many people, this journey is a journey of several years.
Long time.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
You should have self-awareness and be able to calibrate some of those answers for yourself. So we can come up with every type of analogy manageable. Cars, people like cars, right? If you're progressing as a driver, you start with the go-karts and the low powered cars, and you work your way up, and then you can't drive the supercar until you have the skills to get there. So to ask questions around those kinds of things, I understand everyone wants to know, but the progression will be individual, and you need self-awareness to understand that you'll know when the time, you should, if you have the right self-awareness, know when the time is right to add accounts, add size, add complexity, add other machines, add all those things. It just comes with time and with progress.
Oh, okay. So this is an interesting question. Rod, are you trying to figure out a way to trade the new CME binary products based on end of day direction, maybe useless or tradable?
Yeah, I haven't messed with those yet. I also haven't messed with the nano Bitcoin and some other stuff like that. I tried Nadex for quite a while. I tried to make markets in Nadex. They wouldn't take me because I was like, oh, I could crush it if I was on the other side of this. So, and D, I'm sure you have some exposure to all the, European
the
binary
dodgy
nonsense.
binary options. Oh my God.
Yeah, all the dodgy binary options stuff.
Immediately they had like a negative risk reward where you would effectively put up, what was it? Oh, let me remember. So it was, you put up like $70, but you get 100. Oh no, sorry, you get 30, like 100 all in with the 70. That's a negative risk reward, and a really badly negative one. If they were offering you, to put up $70, but you actually get 140 on top of that, that's a positive risk reward. But of course, people didn't really see that. All they saw is like, oh, I invest 70 and then they give me the 70 back and give me 30. Ooh, yeah, great. No, it's a negative risk reward. You will never make it. Never.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether the new CME binary things are similar, but if that's the case, just stay away from that.
Yeah, I haven't researched it enough on the payout, but there's potential benefits to them in the sense that my trading style and what I do is meant to find turning points and directional things. So if you get those right and have high probabilities, you can pick the correct strikes. But overall, if you understand options, you're just going to be better off being, short theta, long theta, and
I would just go with regular options instead.
Yeah, just go with regular options and pick strikes and things that where you can express a futures trade just using the options markets.
All right, here's a question that we've kind of had before, so we're gonna answer it again. Looking to start an eval with a prop firm trading micros, but having trouble selecting which account size I should go for. How would you decide if one should go for 50, 70, or 100K account? Rod, go on. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, 50 without a doubt. So what you want to look at is, we've discussed this. Just you don't need to get bigger. You don't know what your skill set is.
This is an FAQ. So we always get this question.
Yeah, choose 50 because also the profit objective to risk provided is the best in the 50. Like just as an example, you need to make it. Most firms need to make 3,000, and they're generally giving you between 2,000 and 2,500 in drawdown. You should have a daily risk budget as well, but so you can look at that ratio. But if it's 100,000, you need to make 6,000 in profit for $3,000. So it's worse. So 50 is the place to start.
Yeah, if you are super experienced, which it means you wouldn't be asking this question, then you can go for some larger, more aggressive things because you're more confident. But to begin with, just stick with 50K. I definitely would support that.
Right, and remember, 50K is just it's all bullshit. The notional value.
Yeah,
even the $300,000 account from Apex with the $7,500 down. That's the size of the account.
Yeah, exactly. So you're basically playing around with 7.5K even on the biggest accounts available.
And the biggest account,
Yeah.
To start, you need to build your balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the sky's the limit. Warren says, in regards to retail prop firms, which do you prefer, end of day or trailing drawdown? So let's do Ray here.
I would say end of day. I think there's a level of accountability there, and obviously a level of flexibility, I would say.
Yeah.
I would probably prefer end of day drawdown parameters to work with.
I would say it doesn't really matter because if you're trading small enough, you should never be anywhere close to either of those. So for me, I really don't care which one it is. I have no preference. Rod?
Yeah, you're just ripping a page from my hymn book. In fact, I'm going to start to just get in my YouTube comments. I've just taken the gloves off and I'm like, all right, You want to argue with a guy who's been doing this for 25 years, back to traders, understands fine, you can argue with me. But if either of those two models is a concern, you're just not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly.
For those programs, it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know why people keep arguing about it. It's like the difference between tournament poker and cash poker. They're just different. They're the same game with different rules. So
Yeah.
you just have to do things differently. So yeah, it shouldn't be a
Yeah,
consideration.
no, exactly. I never get involved with people who are arguing that, oh, these programs are so difficult. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I've had someone who was saying how unfair they are and how they're scammy companies. And I'm like, well, you obviously don't know how to trade. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't. And I know, Rod, you're pretty harsh with people, so much so that every time I'm in TDG group in Rod's live trading room, people are like afraid to ask questions. Over here, like
I don't know
everyone's
if they're
like,
quite afraid. I mean, I'm there to teach, but most of the
but
time
you just clap them down with like a comment that there's nothing else to say. It's like, okay,
yeah,
I'm done.
yeah,
Like mic
and
drop kind of thing.
a lot of it comes back to the thing we just mentioned before, which is, are those rules silly if you actually had $50,000? Yes, they're great. They're ridiculous if you actually had, but you don't. You have $2,000. So those rules are very appropriate. The only thing these prop firms are doing wrong, if anything, is allowing for massive over leverage. But you're not required to do that. So just set a daily risk budget, trade micros, and don't over lever yourself. The fact that they allow you to do that, you know, that's not,
doesn't mean you should. Yeah.
Doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. I've actually come across people who go, oh, but I have to reach the target. I have to reach the target in 10 days. And I was like, 10 days minimum, not maximum. And I kid you not, people who misread that, they go, oh, really? So they basically keep resetting and resetting and resetting because they think they have to reach the target in 10 days. But don't get me wrong, Top Step's first model was just that. You would trade for 10 days and you had to reach the target in 10 days. But things have changed. So now please read the rules very carefully. If they say minimum amount of trading days, it's minimum. You don't have to trade for 10 days and that's it. You can trade for an entire year to reach the target, as long as you don't hit the trading drawdown. Okay? So make sure you please read carefully what they say. It's very, very important.
Yeah, and a lot of the firms now have actually, based on my suggestion, Top Step put it in place in 2019 when I told Pataki should do it. They'll reset your account for free if you blow up. So not only should you take your
that too.
Yeah, they all do it now. Everyone does almost. So that's a nice discipline thing. If you blow up your account, just wait till your account subscription renews and your account will be reset. So when Dee's saying, minimum 10, you should expect to take a few months at least and pay that subscription a couple times. And you even have some free, get out of jail free cards in your back pocket if you choose to take them. So
absolutely, yeah. Somebody's asking, actually it's it seems YouTube are rushing to free those 29 members videos that were privated probably about a month ago. Is there any way? No, there's no way to see them. Unfortunately, YouTube has said that I've broken some guidelines and they've just set them to private. So I tried to unprivate them. They're still there. I can see them from my YouTube Studio dashboard. But yeah, they're just not allowing me to release them. I was actually ranting a bit on my members live stream about that. We have people who are advising other people to go into scammy NFT nonsense projects and shit tokens and stuff, and nobody's banning them, right? But my videos got banned because I'm talking about a regulator futures product and trying to teach people how to trade properly. It's like, but yeah, I don't know whether it's because of that or whether I was swearing too much. So I'm trying to swear less. I'm really making a big effort not to swear and to make this like PG.
Did you have Metallica on in the background? Maybe you got a copyright infringement.
No, but sometimes my humor it can be construed in a bit of a wrong way. Like for example, I think I referred to my puppies as just like terrorists, and maybe that got flagged by the AI or something. So it's like I wasn't talking about actual people committing crimes against the world. I was talking about my puppies turning into, very energetic adolescent people.
Context,
Yeah,
context.
exactly. Context.
Yeah.
Like YouTube has a lot to learn. So yeah, and then A just continues to say, because I've been through all the others, they're great, impactful, of useful info, so it would be a shame. I mean, I keep doing them every Thursday. I still do my members coaching session. So for the most part, I just, I always say I feel like I'm parroting, like I'm a parrot. I'm constantly saying the same thing. But I guess for others who are finding me, it's not, it's all kind of new stuff because nobody else talks about it apart from Rod. Yeah, so weird. So A says, I actually saw they temporarily got unprivated about a week ago. Yeah, so that was probably me trying to unprivate them. And then YouTube just went, no, you can't do that. So I'm like, okay. Oh, thanks, Ocean Blue. D is old. D's not that old. D is still sort of young. Ray, what were the first 1 or 2 market stoker setups you grasped and focused on and fit best for you to start?
It's funny. It's funny. I was kind of reading that question and thinking about it, and I've actually evolved. So I used to be very keen on levels around supply and demand. So if we've had initiative behavior away from a particular area, so I would, and that's kind of how I got my wildebeest name from Hogue.
Oh,
I would kind of stalk that area. I'd kind of put a little alert, and I actually called it reversion to the mid.
right.
So basically the idea was that if there were initiative buying happening and maybe they didn't get all they wanted at that price, they would do everything that they can to get back to that area, and they would come in and buy some more. So that's what I started with. And this is me without any knowledge of, ADR and all these other things that the program provides, ASR and things of that nature. And then I started to evolve, pay more closer attention to the time of day. Right. So the time of day setup that you talk about, right? 1 hour after trading and the end of day kind of time frame. So those are, I would say, are probably right now, I would say those, the time of day have been, yeah, exactly. Time of day has been, more of an interest for me of late, because I found that you can't always rely on the how you say, the demand level or supply level.
No, they're speculative, and you have to. They're basically just contextual. Sometimes they work. Other times you have to see whether there's any reaction. If they get ignored, then you should ignore them too.
Yeah. So I've gotten crushed at times because I was so how we say, embraced by that 30-minute supply level. So I would say that I started with the kind of the supply demand kind of reversion to the mid areas. And then kind of gravitated as I got further into the program on time of day. So that's how I would answer that question.
Yeah, so time of day, very, very important concept. And every professional trader actually knows that. But again, for some reason, I've never heard it talked about in any course or anything. Rod, actually, you were the first one that I heard that any other human talk about time of day. And it's actually to do with the rebalancing that happens in the last 10 minutes in equities. It's the same kind of thing. So in about 2 minutes, we're going to see a lot more action, which happens every single day in equity indices. That's the time of day when everybody starts closing their positions. So you suddenly get an influx of a whole bunch of stuff happening. And I've seen people lose their shirts in literally the last 10 minutes of trading. And then they go, what happened? What release happened? And I'm like, there was no release. It's time of day, which is why I got this, because I've been looking at kind of formulating my ideas. And this is like the best that I came up with, because this is something that I say a lot. Time of day is a level. That. Yeah. So, yeah. I had to make it myself. I actually thought it came like just like that, so you can do like digital things, but no, it turned out it's like individual letters. So I spent like the whole day just putting it together. But it's a pretty cool little prop. So yeah, time of day, massively important concept. Okay, let's carry on with the question. Ocean Blue says the pickup line, I have 500,000 notional value Wall Street account, baby, seems to work.
Nice.
Yeah. Any of you tried that before? Okay, let's go. D, Rod, and of course Ray. Thanks for everything you do for the noob traders like myself. Oh, come on, don't call yourself a noob. Appreciate your time and patience with us, 100%. We like having you here as well, obviously. Now, I would say that I don't like every time I go, oh, noob, it's kind of a derogatory phrase. I prefer to say novice trader, because I think that applies to a lot more people rather than like, oh, you're a noob. You're not a noob, you're a novice trader. And you could have come from another area of trading as well. I've got a lot of stock traders coming to me, and they kind of come and go, right, I need to do intraday trading now. I want to go into futures. So I've looked you up. I think you can help me. Let's have a chat, blah, blah, blah. But they might be experienced traders in other things, but novice futures traders. They're not noobs. They have lots of experience, just maybe not with futures and intraday. So very huge distinction. Oops. All right.
Well, for a long time, those books, you know, this and that for dummies, you know, just a little bit of self-deprecation is not bad.
I know, right? Yeah, but it's
those
like,
sold like
oh, yeah,
hotcakes.
trading for dummies. It's like,
Yeah,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, they do. They're an excellent marketing scheme.
Yeah.
So maybe this is why, I get criticized for my marketing. I actually had a Twitter troll who was criticizing me on one of my trading setup posts. Like, I don't even know what he was trying to say. I posted a crude oil setup, and I said, yeah, going short, blah, blah, blah. And then he posts, I can tell you don't have a marketing guy, which is not true. I actually have 2 marketing people. And I go, yeah, this is not really a marketing post, though. It's a trading post. So, like, what's your point? And he goes, no, it's just I can tell. I'm like, good for you. And then I think he tried to sell in his services, but then I looked up his account and he has nothing to do with marketing. So I'm like, okay, well, I get you trying to pivot, but this is probably not the way to do it. So as a result, I blocked him. So there we go. That's moral of the story. Don't piss D off. That's
Yes.
Daniel says, earn to trade still charges reset. Yeah, I saw that, but I don't know whether they're going to change that. They're also, they're also they're also a company that's been around forever, but they are trying. Like I've noticed, they are trying to change. By the way, we have a special Market Stalkers discount still ongoing. It's nothing to do with 4th of July. So make sure you take advantage of that. I need to get in touch with them to see how long we're going to keep that going, because they actually worked with a developer to provide almost like a permanent 40% discount on 100 and 150K accounts. Because I have loads of people who are asking me for discounts from Earn to Trade, and they wanted discounts on the large accounts, but they don't do those as a norm. They did it for 4th of July, but honestly, it's like so rare to see Earn to Trade do 100K, any kind of a deal. So yeah, just click underneath this video. There should be like loads of links, and you will also find Rod's room, and you will find Ray's Share Vision channel as well.
I've had a TCP account since they started it, which was I don't know how many months ago. The balance is 25,832.
Yeah,
so
micros.
I might never ever get to the objective, but again, you don't need to reset your account. It's nice if they give you free stuff, but just don't have a need for it,
Yeah, absolutely. A says, one idea would be to use another platform that isn't a fascist piece of shit.
Wow.
Are you, oh God, okay, that's a bit harsh. Are you referring to MetaTrader? If so, they're actually...
No, I think he's referring to YouTube, probably YouTube.
Oh, just YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
YouTube,
they're Google, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Google.
Yeah. I mean, Google is Google. It's a, it's a
Yeah.
corporation. What, you wouldn't expect anything else. Stephen Carlson wants to know regarding end of day versus trailing. It depends on the live account, right? It's problematic if the evaluation account has different rules from the performance account. Well, I mean, performance account will always have slightly different rules as soon as the rules disappear in in my experience. Once you reach the minimum drawdown, there's no rules. Like, that's it. The trading drawdown doesn't trail forever, and if it did, that company would be very dodgy. But in my experience, once you've reached the minimum drawdown plus like what, $100, and it varies from company to company. Apex and ETF require you to have the minimum drawdown that the minimum balance is the maximum drawdown that you had in the eval. So, for example, if you've had 3K in the evaluation, once you reach 3,100 in the live, that's it. It does not trail anymore. From there on out, you are a funded trader with no trading drawdown. So that's actually something that I wanted to discuss. Anyways, people trade the live account as aggressively as they trade their eval account. And honestly, you don't have a reset. You can't really do that. So you have two options. You can either be a bit more aggressive in your eval account to reach the target faster, even though I do not recommend that, or you can just take it slow. And you're never going to have a problem with end of day versus trading drawdown. Ever. Ever. Rod, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a topic we just rehash forever. Yep, I fully agree. With the exception of, I mean, you weren't suggesting this, but if you trade the evals aggressively and quickly, you will never take a payout.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just won't. You're just developing bad habits and you're not playing the game properly. So it's the equivalent. I always go to poker, if you understand poker. If you just bought into a rebuy tournament and you just keep coming in and just YOLOing, you're not going to win that tournament. I'm going to build a big chip stack and then I'm going to act differently. Okay, good luck.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always safer just to go slow. But I will say that when I'm doing, obviously I'm slightly different, but when I'm doing the evals with a very large target, I do tend to take some decisions that I don't necessarily take in my live account, because I know that even if something happens and I read the market wrong or whatever, I can reset. Not that I do, because I haven't reset. I think I've only reset like maybe once when I first went into Top Step back in whenever it was, 2016. And that's because I was new to the whole process. And I was like, oh, what happened now? And it's also because I kind of didn't, I put down like the wrong size of contracts. Instead of 1, I accidentally pressed 0. So yeah, not great. But it happens, you will make mistakes. That's why, and it's okay to make a mistake of that sort. But it's not okay to just go into an eval being a lunatic trader who's just like you say, YOLOing, like, yay, we make $5,000 today and tomorrow we lose it all plus, another 2 and then we're done. So I just don't do that. Just slow and steady always wins the game. Right. In earn to trade 25K now. Is that TCP or is that just a regular one, Daniel? Because they do have 2 versions. I think they have the mini gauntlet, which is 25K, and then they have the scalable trader career path one. So which one are you doing? Warren says, have you thought about participating in the World Cup of Trading contests? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that's Robin's thing. So I was a big guy in that for a while.
What is it? It's just like a.
I wouldn't. So Collective 2, I'm talking my own book. So I'm a partner in Collective 2. So if you have the skill set to, and we mentioned this before in terms of sizing up. A great way to size up is to actually manage other money. So that your account size remains the same and you just distribute your signals. So if you're not familiar, you might just go to collective2.com. But I'm pretty surprised that Robin's and that World Cup is still around. It's overall not a really good program. Plus their broker was PFG Best. If you guys, again, I date myself, but I woke up one morning and I had a $157,000 account that was frozen, and That wasn't a fun day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was back to back.
Yeah.
Within 3 months, I had MF Global and PFG Best all happened. There's never been another shoe that's dropped in the futures market. So I decided to instead add it by having 500,000 shares of Voyager that filed for bankruptcy yesterday. So I rule.
Oh God, man! I did have one very big losing day, but I mean, compared to like emotionally and compared to the account size, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It was like more annoying than anything, but it was certainly like it was 250K, and I'd spilled coffee on all over my keyboard the previous day, and it was like, I was working for a prop firm, and it was a large account, so you know it was. I think the loss was maybe about 8 to 10%. But what happened is that it was an FOMC release. Is one of the reasons why I don't do FOMC. So I tried going into a trade and it didn't fill me. Like this is the pitfalls of trading the live markets. I had an order. I tried to go in. Nothing. The platform froze. And in that time, again, me and the zeros, it kind of got stuck on the zero rather than I think I was trying to do 100 contracts or 150 contracts, but I actually accidentally entered like a lot more contracts. And by the time that the platform unfroze, I was filled like 200 ticks away from my price. And it just went all the way down. And before I knew what was happening, I was down like $250,000. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. If I didn't have a heart attack that day, I never will. Like that was the worst day of my life ever. But comparatively to me losing my ever first account, which where I was just still a novice trader within the first 2 years, I built up a really sizable chunk of money from 2K up to 70K. This was pounds. And at that time, the pound to dollar was like 184. It was crazy. So it was effectively me losing about $120K. But that one hurt a lot more because that was the only kind of cash, the old cash that I had at the time. It was the size of the account. But the second one, even though comparatively was a lot more money and it was annoying, strangely enough, it didn't really affect me that much. So, you know, it's all just swings and roundabouts, you know. So it's it's how it goes. It's almost like the rite of passage for traders. Ray, do you have any such disastrous stories?
Well, I remember when I first started with Top Step. I've obviously, I don't know, I'm going to say novice trader. I was going to use the other word, but in any case, I was trading the gold market, and I think there was some sort of was it farm payroll report coming
Yeah.
or whatever, and
it's coming up tomorrow, by the way, guys.
yeah. So I was in a position, and I was about to put my stop, and that hit, and I was automatically went on tilt. Right. So it was just me not knowing and being aware of news events and things of that nature. But this was in the very beginning of my Top Step career.
So that's another thing. When you're starting with these prop challenges, you really should be aware of the high risk releases. There isn't that many of them. I think Top Step goes a little bit over the top.
They've actually scaled back. They used to do a lot more.
I know. Oh my God, you couldn't trade through the day. It was so annoying. It was one of the reasons why I moved away from them. It's like, oh, it's the inventories. It's like, I know it's the inventories. I want to trade through them if I want to. If I deem that I've had enough profit, you know, for the day to take a hit, why not? But no, they were like, you have to be flat for 4 minutes after and 4 minutes before. It's like, okay, God. So it was quite restrictive. But if you're a novice trader, it's actually pretty useful to flatten before super high risk releases. I don't trade the FOMC because I've never really made money on it. So then I've lost $250,000 on it. So I was like, you know what, the FOMC not for me. So these days I just watch it. I just watch the interest rate. I would never actively trade it. So when you're writing your plans, you know how I do my very elaborate plans. One part that you want to reserve for releases is to remind you that there is a high risk release coming up. I've even set alarms up on my phones and stuff and everything. Now I know them like you wake me up in the middle of the night, I can tell you which release is coming up when, and whether we're due to have it. So I don't, it's kind of like a part of my routine now. But if you're somebody who's just coming into this prop trading game, and you ever find yourself in a situation like Ray did, and you're like, oh, whoa, what happened? It's
Exactly.
an NFP release. Like, you really should be aware of non-farm payrolls. It's like one of the biggest releases and high impact releases that you can possibly have. So it's your job to know when those releases are happening. It's absolutely no excuse to just go, whoa, what happened? Please
Exactly.
don't do that.
Yes.
All right, so let's see. Lots of people on YouTube. Yeah, A says, oh, maybe you should use other platforms. Do you know what? I tried using other platforms. I didn't like them. They were either too clunky, or it's very difficult to get people from YouTube. They're so used to YouTube to get them anywhere else. And for me, YouTube has been pretty kind. I have loads of people who have found market stalkers because of YouTube, and yes, it's not ideal, but what is? So for me to kind of drag people away and try to build platforms off grid, like weird things that are built in the middle of nowhere, and are trying to move away from the corporate world, it's just not me. So yeah. Earn to trade would not let me get sale price unless you generate a new email. So if you're an existing customer of Earn to Trade, you won't be able to get a discount. So I believe that most of the discounts that they do are just for new people. So yeah, one way around it is just to use a different email. In this day and age, it's very easy to open up a new Google account and just do that. Yeah. Somebody's throwing up because I've only reset once. Come on, man. Resets are like, you don't need to reset, seriously. Tony Lyons, suggestion: a discussion of best features of EdgeWonk and ways to use them would be useful. Ray, do you use EdgeWonk at all?
Yeah, I do actually. I use the desktop version.
Right.
I went ahead and made the plunge to track.
To buy the desktop, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I like it. It's very useful.
So my best feature for EdgeWonk is the custom statistics. There can be anything. Like literally, I've never seen a journaling platform do that. It's literally you can go in and just put down FOMO, experiencing FOMO, and then you can track that, how many times it happens and how it affects your trade. Literally becomes a piece of data, and I think that's like excellent. It's brilliant. It was a true revelation, especially for some of my traders who have more psychological problems with entering trades and stuff. Some of them are.
Yeah, I enjoy the. Sorry for interjecting here, but I enjoy the charting allows you to submit a link for the chart. So you have kind of an idea, some context behind what drove you to that particular trade.
Yes, a screenshot.
Yeah. Well, actually, I actually use TradingView, and I actually provide the URL. So there's not even a screenshot. So I provide I copy the URL right into, and I can actually have that information, that context as I'm reading through that particular trade. I can kind of glance over and look and see what was it about that trade that caused me to enter or whatever. So
yeah,
I definitely enjoy that feature.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely a good one. Visualizing the setups as you're doing the post-mortem analysis, because some people are just doing the post-mortem on the day, and then they go away, they never look at it afterwards. So it's like, well, what use is that? You need to be able to go back to a similar situation, same time of day, see how you behaved, see what the market looked like, and whether you can find some kind of commonalities. That's how you progress. So that's where screenshots would definitely be very, very useful.
Yeah. And TradingView has this nice feature where you can actually copy a URL and just paste it in.
Tony says, my suggestion is for future time, not necessarily for today. Well, we're here now. We're here now. All right, guys. So we've had the market close. As you can see, NASDAQ, or you can't see, Just give me 1 second. Nasdaq has kind of gone off the top, but it didn't really fall too far, and it's just sort of consolidated into the end. Quite a bit of chop there, and going up and down, up and down. So that's the last few minutes of trading. Tomorrow, Friday, like I said, we could have a potential of carrying on higher, but also keep an eye on that value acceptance because the value edge is very, very close here now. So overnight, I would expect to see London and Asia maybe move it a little bit higher. If that happens, then you will have an open above value, which increases the odds of the market going with that direction. But if you get value acceptance when the market goes back, accepts value, then you have a very, very good potential for a short. So 2 scenarios to watch out for.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it's been very fun. So we're going to wrap this session up. We're going to try and do this all over again. And check out the links down below for Rod's TDG group. Very, very good stuff. He's in there every single day, Monday to Friday. What time again, Rod?
We start around 9:15 Eastern, go for about 90 minutes.
Eastern. Yeah. You're also going to find me in there every Wednesday around 2 p.m. Eastern, is it? I can never remember.
No, 11
No,
a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 11. It's 4 p.m. my time. Yeah. And Ray is on Share Vision. He usually comes up with a market overview on Fridays. So very, very good, very informative. You can check that out. All the links are down below. So make sure you click them and like them, follow us. Go and check it all out. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Let's do this all over again next week.